Hi, welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Welcome if you're new here, and if you're one of my subscribers, you are literally the best. Let's get crafting. For this first DIY, we're going to use those little kind of plastic covered wire square containers from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use some of these googly eyes from Halloween that I had purchased. I'm using my hot glue gun to poke holes on either end so that I can stick a dowel through it, and that's going to be the middle of my little tiered tray. This is going to be a 2-tier tray. I'm making it because I need a place to hold my sponges and lotion and brushes and things like that by the kitchen sink. I'm also using a glass candlestick that I got at Dollar Tree. And right now I'm just kind of figuring out how I'm going to want to put this together once everything is ready to go. So I'm sticking the dowel into the eyeball and kind of figuring out how is this all going to hold itself up. What I have decided is that I need 2 of those little eyeballs, the candlestick, the 2 wire baskets, and the dowel. And then I'm going to use a little plastic shower curtain ring for the handle at the top. I'm using my tin snips to go ahead and cut the dowel. It makes a super easy cut and it's pretty straight, and I just did a little sanding on the end when I was done with that. I'm going to be using the color Plaster from Waverly. It's a chalk paint, and I'm going to be painting the eyes and eventually the candlestick. I'm going to be creating a faux wood effect, which I will also use the antique wax from Waverly to accomplish that. Since the dowel is already made of wood, I can just use the antique wax and go ahead and stain that piece to match the rest. I'm using a coarse brush because it leaves little stroke marks, and you can use a chip brush for this too. They sell them at Dollar Tree. My daughter bought me some really nice brushes for Christmas, so I'm using those, and I love the way they work. They really show the little lines, so it does look like a wood grain. When I'm doing this technique, I go in the same direction with the wax so that the strokes are all going the same way like wood would really do. I'm going ahead and planning out my assembly again now that everything is dry and it has been painted. I mentioned I was going to use a shower curtain ring to create the handle at the top, and I'm going to use a faux galvanized metal technique for that one. I used my tin snips to cut off this little tab that was on the inside of that shower ring. I don't need it, and it kind of gets in the way, and I needed a flatter surface so I could attach it. Today's video is part of the Useful DIY Challenge that is hosted every month by MomDas Handmade, and this month her co-host is Sandra at the Schwowin's Nest. They are extremely talented ladies. I will have their channel links in my description box below, and there are lots of YouTube crafters who are participating. I will also put the playlist link down below in the description, and I invite you to come visit and watch everybody's interesting, useful DIYs that they create. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to come in and fill that hole in on the top there of the candlestick, because otherwise there's no stability. So I'm going to use a little wooden block from the Dollar Tree and a lot of hot glue. To create the faux galvanized metal, I'm using the steel color in Waverly's chalk paint. I'm going to use ink, which is black. I'm going to use some white paint that I got a sample from Lowe's, and then I'm going to use metallic silver from Folklore, and I'm just going to dab it on lightly with a little sponge until I get the desired look that I want. It's kind of just going back and forth and back and forth, and then you'll see it does end up looking like a galvanized metal when I'm all done. And I'm filling in all of the gaps there with hot glue. I really just needed a flat surface. I wanted it to be as stable as possible, since the little dowel with the ball on the end of it is all I have to attach it with. I almost forgot, but I wanted to seal it with polyacrylic just so that if it gets water on it or anything, which it probably will next to the kitchen sink, that would protect it. So that's what I'm doing here. And now it's time for assembly. And we've already seen how that's going to go. I'm just putting it together. I tried a little super glue because I was curious if that would work. It didn't. So I went back to my hot glue. This isn't going to have heavy things in it, and it's not going to get moved around a lot. So I figured hot glue is probably going to be just fine. If I run into a problem later, I can always do E6000 and let it dry. But I feel like the stability I created really is going to help with this in terms of staying intact. I needed to create a little bit of a wider surface for the shower curtain ring to attach. So I wrapped some jute twine around the top of the dowel, which was a perfect thing to do. And then I did some crisscrosses around the base of the shower curtain ring, and it's just for decorative purposes, but it also holds it in place. And I use hot glue to attach everything. And I think it actually looks really nice like that. I turned it upside down to make sure that I put some hot glue on all the other sides too, that way it would be super strong. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's definitely going to be very useful, and you'll have to let me know what you think. I'd love for you to join me on my channel by hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you'll always know when I have a new video. I do all kinds of DIYs, gardening in the summer. If you enjoy my video, please hit the like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. That helps my channel so much, and I do appreciate it. For this DIY, I picked up this little calendar sign from Dollar Tree. I've always wanted to do something with them. I removed the twine hanger and I used a staple remover to take out the little staples in the back. And then I was going to take the label off, and it was stubborn. I used a blow dryer. Boy, it really gave me a lot of grief. I even used like a little putty knife. Eventually, I did get it off though. I sanded where the staples were and where the label was, make sure there wasn't anything sticky on it. And then the little hangers, the 3 hangers where the numbers and the ones hang, I turned them, flipped around the other way because I wanted the sign to go the other direction. And now I'm sanding off the Shine Bright because it was really sparkly, and I figured it might not cover as well with the paint. I'm going to paint the front and side edges of this sign in a Waverly chalk paint called Pool. It's a really pretty light blue. It took 3 coats to fully cover where I couldn't see anything underneath. I used a rough bristle brush and the color Mineral from Waverly, and I did some very light distressing. I love the combination of the mineral with a blue. It's just really pretty. Went around the edges and a little bit in the center. You know how on the back of a calendar it shows you what each month is going to be, and they're little teeny squares? Well, I used 2 different calendars that I had gotten at the Dollar Tree, and I picked 3 different little squares. One of them says, "This is the day the Lord has made, we will rejoice and be glad in it," which is Psalm 118:24. And then the next one is, "Everything beautiful begins with God." And then the third one is, "Be joyful in hope, faithful in prayer," and that's Romans 12:12. And I just love them, and I thought for a little calendar to have those daily reminders, affirmations, would be awesome. I cut out the little squares, and I'm going to frame them using some skewers. So I'm going to measure the sizes. I'm going to clip the little skewers into the right size, and then I'm going to hot glue them around the edges. I'm using my miter shears to clip them. I love this tool. I got it on Amazon and I use it so much. It's awesome. I'll put a link in the description. I quickly sanded all of the edges of those little skewers so there wouldn't be any pointy parts. And now I'm attaching my little skewers to the individual little pictures as frames. I used my Cricut to create a little transfer that says Jesus loves me. Now honestly, you could do this with Dollar Tree stickers. You could trace it and use carbon paper, or you could just freehand it. This would be very easy to do without a Cricut. I'm still a newbie with the Cricut, so I pulled up a little bit of the transfer and I used a black marker to fill that in. It was actually an easy fix. Now I'm attaching my 3 little pictures or signs to the top, and that is going to finish it off except for the very back, which I'm going to add a little jute hanger, and then I'm going to put some craft paper on the back to finish it off and make the sign look very nice. This will be a very useful calendar for me because not only will it tell me the date, but it will give me some positive affirmations and remind me that Jesus loves me, and I just love that. I really love how this turned out and what it stands for. I hope you guys really love it too. Let me know in the comments what you think. I just wanted to let everyone know that I am on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Same name, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie, and I hope to see you over there. So this is a little bit of a thrift flip. I had this frame years and years I've had it, and I got it at a thrift shop. And it's just a really bright yellow. I love the little patterns and textures on it, but that yellow just doesn't do it for me. And I saw this really cool technique on one of my favorite channels called Chalk It Up Fancy. I'll link them down below just in case you want to check them out. They do great tutorials. And so I'm going to clean this off with some alcohol just to make sure it's a good surface. I'm going to get some baby wipes ready, a water spray bottle. I'm going to spray the surface of my frame, and I'm going to spray my brush as well because I want it to all be a little wet. I'm going to use a little bit of the ink chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm literally going to cover my frame. And you're thinking she's crazy, but actually it's a really cool technique. I decided to do half at a time so I could hold it when it wasn't wet. And after I covered it with the ink paint, I took my baby wipe and I'm literally wiping off as much as I want and leaving behind a very antique kind of vintage look to it. And especially in the nooks and crannies where you want to leave more of that black paint, it just creates such a really cool antique effect. And I love it. And now the yellow isn't quite as bright. I was actually going to get rid of this frame just because it just doesn't go with the things in my house, and by doing this and toning it down a little bit, it's now useful to me. I can keep, putting pictures in it, and right now I've got a cute little picture of my daughter and my son from many years ago, and it was just adorable and I loved it, and now I get to keep it. I'm so excited. I am sealing it with some polyacrylic because I want to protect it, and it had just a little bit of shine to it, which I also like, especially with those edges. It picks up the light. I'm super happy with how it turned out, and I love this technique. You'll have to let me know what you think about it too. And here's a last look at all 3 of my DIYs for today. I love them all. They're all useful, and I really hope you guys like them. Be sure to go visit MomDas Life Handmade's channel and the Schwowin's Nest channel. The links are down below in the description box. And the playlist is in my description box as well, and you're going to want to watch all those videos. Thank you so much for watching and being here. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and definitely give this video a like, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Until then, you are a blessing.